toxic masculinity.
Federal court strikes down race-based bailouts.
Right. This, to me, is a pretty fantastic story. Federal court strikes down race-based bailouts. Well, the thing is, recently there's been this slew of executive orders and bills and laws that the Biden administration is trying to push through to help out black people, to help out people of color. And the problem with that is that they are neglecting white Americans. If you're a suffering white American, the Biden administration has no time for you. They only have time for black Americans and other Americans of color, and you get left out. Mm-hmm. This is absolute discrimination. This is absolute racism. This is obviously horrible. So we need the courts. We need lawyers. We need people who have the courage to go stand up against these laws, submit legislation against them, litigation, submit litigation against them, and push back, right? And this is something, as soon as you hear these laws, at least with me, the immediate thought is, okay, somebody's going to file a lawsuit against this because this is unconstitutional, right? Mm-hmm. It's unconstitutional. You cannot discriminate in America in really any way. I mean, this is why we had the civil rights movement. We amended the Constitution specifically so that we would avoid this kind of thing. And now, obviously, it's being turned around and said, "Oh, we can't discriminate against." It's like Democrats are addicted to racism. They're like, "Well, if we can't be racist against the blacks, who will we be racist to? Ooh, we could be racist against the whites." It's like they just looking for somebody to discriminate against. So let's go ahead and have a read through this story. There's a couple of articles here that I want to look at. Federal court strikes down race-based restaurant bailouts in Biden's COVID-19 spending bill. A federal appeals court struck down racist provisions in President Joe Biden's partisan $1.9 trillion COVID-19 spending package that designated billions of priority financial aid to restaurants largely owned by minorities. In the 2-1 ruling issued on Thursday, why is it even a split decision? Why is it 2-1? Who the hell is voting for this stuff? It must be like a black woman or one of these, or maybe not. Maybe it's like one of these. It's a woman for sure. It's got to be. It's got to be a woman. That's a horrible thing to say, but in my experience, that's more likely, right? Ruling issued on Thursday, the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals decided that showing favoritism to small restaurants, at least 51% owned and controlled by women, veterans, or the socially and economically disadvantaged, is a violation of the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause, which prohibits states from making or enforcing laws that abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Well, that's right. Equal protection of the law. The government cannot discriminate because you're white. They can't say, "Oh, no, you don't get that. We're going to give stuff out, but only to black people." In fact, I actually think that affirmative action laws are unconstitutional. I think we need to fix all of that problem. In the majority opinion, Judge Amul Thapar, I have no idea what that name comes from. It sounds like, I don't know, Malaysian or something, expressed concerns that the 21-day period slapped on the limited Small Business Administration money distribution did not offer equal opportunity to those hurt by government-mandated lockdowns, including the plaintiff, Jake's Bar and Grill, which is owned by Antonio Vitolo, and his wife, who is Hispanic but did not qualify for the financial handout. The Small Business Administration has injected explicit racial and ethnic preferences into priority process, Thapar wrote. Under a regulation that predates the pandemic, the agency presumes certain applicants are socially disadvantaged based solely on their race or ethnicity. If you are in one of those groups, the Small Business Administration assumes you qualify as socially disadvantaged. Indeed, the only way not to qualify is if somebody comes forward with credible evidence to the contrary. While the dissenting judge, Bernice Donald, woman, boom. Let's have a look at her. See what she looks like. Doesn't really matter, but curious. Oh, yep, black woman. What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? I'm like some kind of genius. Political genius. Like a prophet. Okay. Well, the dissenting judge Bernice Donald claimed that the government is allowed to use race-based classifications to remediate past discrimination. Thapar also noted that, okay, sure, but there is no discrimination against these people. That you can't show any discrimination. And you certainly can't show any discrimination from all white Americans today. What the hell is she talking about? Thapar also noted that the schedule of racial preferences detailed in the government's regulation, preferences for Pakistanis but not Afghans, Japanese but not Iraqis, Hispanics but not Middle Easterners, is not supported by any record evidence at all. Yeah, Thapar is awesome. Bernice Donald, moron. How is that person a judge? Anyway, but this is good news, guys. This is very good news. And also, we've got some other great news, because when I was thinking of that, when I heard that story, I immediately thought about the black farmers, because we've got all this money from the Biden administration going to black farmers. I remember hearing that and going, what the F? Why the hell are black farmers being singled out and given a bunch of money? I read through this, like 120% of any loan balances they have. 120%? So if you have a loan out, we're going to forgive you the loan, plus we're going to give you 20% of whatever you borrowed. Like, what the hell? Black farm loan forgiveness challenged. So let's go down here and have a look at this. They're calling it reverse discrimination claims. It's not reverse discrimination claims. It's discrimination. Okay, okay. Forget the whole concept of reverse racism, reverse discrimination. Forget that. It's just discrimination. It's just racism, pure and simple. Okay, it doesn't matter if a white person is discriminating against other white people because they think that black people are discriminated against. It doesn't matter what your reasoning is for. If you're discriminating against white people, that's racist. I'm sorry. Okay, that's not reverse racism. The first lawsuit. There was 2 lawsuits against this farm thing, which I didn't even know about. I hadn't heard about this in the news, but I think this is great. First lawsuit challenges the constitutionality of equal rights, considering the loan forgiveness does not apply to white farmers. It is filed by former President Trump employees now working at American First Legal on behalf of Sid Miller in a private capacity, although Miller also serves as the Texas Commissioner of Agriculture. Well done, Trump people. Boom. I'm not going to get into the details, but the second lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Wisconsin on behalf of 5 Midwest farmers from Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ohio, and South Dakota. Why did I say North? I don't know. Me no read so good. Who have direct loans with the Farm Service Agency or USDA-backed loans. They are otherwise eligible for the loan forgiveness program in ARPA, except for the color of their skin. I mean, the racism in America is kind of getting out of control, I think. I mean, this is what we call systemic racism, right? This is the system discriminating against white people. All the systemic racism that exists in the federal government today and in corporations, as far as I can see, it's all against white people. There is systemic discrimination in America, but it is against white people. So be sure to bring that up whenever anybody brings up systemic discrimination. Oh, yeah, no, I believe in systemic discrimination in America against white people. All right, well, unless my beautiful wife has anything to add to this story, I think we might be done.
Was this story?
Uh-huh.
The next story?
Yes, please.
BLM founder Patrice Conman. Oh my gosh, I can't read that.
Colors.
Colors?
Yeah, colors, like a color green.
That's a weird spelling. Okay.
That's just how she spells it.
BLM founder Patrice Conman Colors quits Black Lives Matter.
All right, let me read it.
How can you
for
quit?
Crying out loud.
How
All right.
can you
BLM
quit
founder
whatever you...
Patrice Conman Colors quits BLM. So you got to say it like like you're yelling at somebody. I don't know. Well, okay. So Patrice Conman Colors. The reason I've referred to her as a con man is because it looks like she's basically just stolen a bunch of the money that was donated to BLM, and she's just taken it for herself and bought a bunch of houses with it and stuff like that. I don't know all the details, but apparently she set up some kind of a company and then funneled Black Lives Matter donations to that company as if the company was doing work for Black Lives Matters or something like that. And now she's just taken all that money. Like the company just paid her personally. So she's just gotten rich off all these donations. I mean, they were making millions and millions of dollars, and now all those millions and millions have gone into the pocket of police con colors. Not to help black people in any kind of a way who are oppressed, which, by the way, they aren't. The whole concept of Black Lives Matter is a con to begin with, because there's this idea that unarmed black men were being shot by police at unusually high rates, compared to other demographic groups. Absolutely false. What was happening was black men were committing crimes at higher rates than any other group. And so they were interacting with police officers more often per capita than any other group. And so they were still being killed less often than unarmed white men who were interacting with police at about the same rate, despite being a much higher percentage of the population. And but they were cherry picking data to make it look like black men were being killed off at higher rates. And then they were saying, send us money because we got to protect all the black men because there's a genocide. And everybody's like, yeah, there's a genocide. And if you ask, they've done a few interviews where they've gone around and they've asked people how many I saw a survey where they said, how many unarmed black men are killed by police every year. And I think it was something like 40-something%. I think it was 41% or something. Or maybe it was even over 50%. I have to go back and look at it. But it was a lot. Huge percentage of Democrats, leftists, believe that over 1,000 unarmed black men are killed every year by police. I think in 2019 it was 9. I think the number was 9. It depends on what survey you look at. There was another survey I saw that said it was like 25 or something like that. But either way, it's not 1,000. You crazy people. But anyway, let's go ahead and read this story. Boom. Here we go. BLM founder police. It's funny that her name rhymes with police. I never noticed that. BLM founder Patrice Conman Cullors resigns as executive director after right-wing smear campaign. Smear campaign, huh? Over her real estate buying spree. No smear campaign.
So there is no investigation, nothing?
No. She's just a corrupt degenerate. I'm sure there are some journalists out there who have access to some of this information that are figuring it out, which I love. If you're a journalist out there and you're working on this stuff, good for you. All right, Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrice Cullors resigned as executive director after what she called a smear campaign from far right-wing groups after her real estate buying spree. Ms. Cullors founded Black Lives Matter 6 years ago and enriched herself living high on the hog and bought millions of dollars in real estate. And what's really ironic about this is that she's supposed to be a communist.
Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.